Greetings, fellow captains. We have already shown you how to control carrier aviation in World of Warships. Today we will talk about the different types of aircraft and their efficient use in battle. The game has 4 types of aircraft. Reconnaissance planes are stationed on battleships and cruisers. Fighter planes are designed to destroy enemy aviation, while torpedo bombers and dive bombers make up striking squadrons that attack enemy ships. Reconnaissance planes are the eyes of battleships and cruisers, increasing their view radius. Press T to launch a reconnaissance plane. It'll take off and fly around your ship. It may be extremely useful for detecting enemy ships with low visibility or approaching torpedoes. After a reconnaissance plane uses up its fuel, it will automatically return to the ship for refueling. Once refueled, it may be launched again. Like any other aircraft in the game, it can be destroyed by fighters or by enemy anti-aircraft artillery. The main tasks of fighter planes are to defend Allied ships and to destroy striking squadrons of torpedo bombers and dive bombers. If a striking squadron comes under attack, it loses speed and accuracy. This means even if you don't manage to destroy the squadron, your attack will increase the spread of its bombs and torpedoes, thus helping an Allied ship to evade assault or receive less damage. Another important mission for fighter planes is the defense of your striking squadrons against enemy fighters. Don't forget that in a battle between fighters, the higher tier wins. With that in mind, try to engage the enemy in the effective area of anti-aircraft artillery of Allied ships. Fighter planes are also quite efficient in reconnaissance. Torpedo bombers are the main striking force of aircraft carriers. Their reticle looks like a circle with a green sector of torpedo spread. The best way to increase the efficiency of an attack is to launch torpedoes at a ship's side. The enemy, however, will try to maneuver their bow or aft to your salvo. For this reason, the initial aim needs to be adjusted. You can do this by moving the indicator of the attack vector. The landscape is another thing that you must keep in mind, as islands may easily prevent your torpedoes from hitting their target. A successful torpedo attack not only damages the ship, but also causes flooding. The enemy ship will lose survivability points for a certain period after the hit. Do not forget that a quick and maneuverable vessel may evade a torpedo spread more easily. With that in mind, aircraft carriers and battleships should be priority targets for torpedo bombers. An attack on a ship that has powerful anti-aircraft armaments may result in heavy casualties. A good idea would be to send several striking squadrons against such ships. Seasoned players prefer using area attacks. Press and hold Alt to switch the reticle mode. Now you may launch torpedoes at any arbitrary point on the map. This mode gives you the advantage of a smaller spread and the ability to attack from a close distance, making it difficult for the enemy to take evasive action. On the other hand, you will have to calculate the target lead yourself. If you order a launch over an island, the torpedoes will fall to the ground. If the distance to the target is too small, the torpedo fuses will not be able to arm and detonate upon impact. Another efficient trick is to put your adversary between the Devil and the deep blue sea. Increase your chance of hitting an enemy ship by attacking it from 2 sides simultaneously, with 2 torpedo bomber squadrons flying at approximately 90 degrees to each other. While the enemy maneuvers trying to evade one salvo, it'll most certainly get struck by the other. The reticle of dive bombers looks a little different. It has the same circle as torpedo bombers, but the effective area is marked by a bright green oval. This type of aircraft has an advantage when attacking a ship from bow or stern, maximizing the chance of hitting the target. Remember that controlling your aim during an attack is still very important, as the enemy might take evasive action to escape the bombing area. In addition to the damage dealt by explosions, bombs may cause fires. You may increase the efficiency of your attacks as well as other ships' characteristics by installing additional equipment available in the port. Stay tuned for the next episode to learn more about it. Greetings, fellow captains. In our previous episodes, we told you how to fight in World of Warships. In this episode, we'll talk about how to prepare for battle, including how to fine-tune your ship to better suit your playing style and improve its combat qualities. In other words, we'll talk about the port and its importance in the game, and also give you some tips and tricks. In the port, you can access loads of useful information on any ship in the game. On the right, you can see a ship's parameters panel. Here, not only can you learn about a ship's speed characteristics and combat qualities, but also explore its modules. To examine a ship's module in detail, click the left mouse button on the camera icon near the module. A naval ship is like a crowded city with beautiful and sinister architecture. In the heat of battle, you probably won't have time to admire it, but when you're in the port, you can explore all the little details. Click the right mouse button to go back to normal mode. In World of Warships, you can thoroughly explore even those ships you haven't yet had time to research or purchase. Take your time and pore over the top models in the tech tree you're striving after, the 10-tier ships. Just open the tech tree and select the ship you're interested in. It goes without saying that the main function of the port is to enhance your ship's combat qualities, survivability and armament. This is the place to modernize your ship. In World of Warships, it is important to properly adjust your ship according to its type and your playing style. There are several ways to do that. First of all, on the module screen, you can research modules in exchange for experience or free experience, purchase modules for game currency, or mount new modules with improved characteristics. Click the left mouse button on the module to see and evaluate the characteristics that will change after you mount this module. Sometimes modules need to be mounted in a certain order. For example, you can't mount bigger caliber guns without renovating the fire control system. On the other hand, if you have accumulated enough experience, you can research all intermediate modules by clicking the last module in the sequence. Another way to enhance your ship's characteristic is to mount upgrades. Slots for upgrades are placed directly below the modules. The number of available slots depends on the ship's type and tier. Each slot has a defined set of upgrades, of which only one upgrade can be mounted in a slot. When selecting upgrades, you should take into consideration both the strengths and weaknesses of your ship, as well as your playing style. For example, if you prefer long-range combat, you should consider upgrading the accuracy and rate of fire of your guns, while short-range combat calls for upgrading your ship's survivability. You can demount upgrades in exchange for game currency, or remove them permanently for free. Click the right mouse button on the upgrade and choose one of the two options. All demounted upgrades can be found in the depot. You can mount them on any other ship anytime you like. In World of Warships, the commander's skills directly influence the ship's combat capability. Click the commander's image on the ship parameters panel to go to the commander skills screen. The experience you earn in the game can be used both for researching modules and mastering commander skills. The higher commander's progress level, the more experience you need to master additional commander skills. Skills of higher levels require mastery of at least one skill of the previous level and cost a larger number of points. All skills can be divided into specialized and general skills. Again, when choosing which commander skills to master, you should consider the ship's type and your playing style. If you change your mind later, you can always reset used skill points and redistribute them in exchange for game currency. When selling the ship, you can either send the commander to the reserve or dismiss the commander. At the same time, you will have to decide whether to demount or sell mounted upgrades. You can assign a commander from the reserve to any ship of their nation, but the effect to the commander's skills will be reduced. This doesn't apply to premium ships of the same type. To maintain the effect of skills on the same level, you can retrain the commander for free or in exchange for game currency. By choosing the right upgrades and the commander's skills, you can neutralize the weaknesses of the ship's type or enhance its strength. We'll talk more about ship types in the next episodes. Greetings, fellow captains. In our previous episodes, we told you how to properly prepare for a battle, control your ship, and use your weapons in World of Warships. In this episode, we'll talk about warship types. Let's start with the most versatile and multi-purpose type, the cruiser. On the one hand, it's quite well armoured and is equipped with heavy weaponry. On the other hand, it's nicely manoeuvrable, which allows it to evade the shells of battleships and the torpedoes of destroyers. Shipbuilding techniques as well as battle strategies and tactics are different from country to country. In this episode, we'll talk about the cruisers of the American tech tree. US cruisers are distinguished by their heavy artillery, handsome armor protection, highly effective AA guns and high speed. Des Moines, a Tier 10 cruiser, is a wonderful example of her type. She is fast and maneuverable and is equipped with 9 rapid-firing guns, putting out 90 shots per minute. Indeed, every cruiser in this line is worth playing. You need not skip any of them. The Tier 2 light cruiser Chester can't boast high speed, but thanks to the armor deck tapered towards the sides, bow and stern, she is well able to withstand armor-piercing shells and go toe-to-toe against destroyers and cruisers of her same tier. However, facing enemy battleships or higher-tier cruisers will be a challenge for her. The Tier 3 cruiser St. Louis literally bristles with guns. In top configuration, she is equipped with 14x6 in-main guns and 18 secondary guns. St. Louis poses a serious threat to all ships of Tier 2 through Tier 4. However, her very weak AA guns leave her vulnerable to attacks from aircraft carriers. Her armor protection is as good as Chester's, and the best way to penetrate her hull is to hit her with armor-piercing shells from a long distance. True, her low speed and poor maneuverability make St. Louis an easy target for torpedoes. However, to sneak up to the proper distance to launch a torpedo against her will be a very difficult task. The Tier 4 light cruiser Phoenix embodies a new stage in cruiser development, completely different from her forerunners at lower tiers. The armor scheme has changed drastically. The previous tapered armor deck has become flat, and only the engine room is protected by the belt armor. Lighter armor allows better speed and maneuverability, and the Phoenix also carries more effective AA guns and, most importantly, torpedo armament. While still oriented towards long to medium-range artillery battles, Phoenix is significantly improved over her predecessors. Increased speed and maneuverability allow her to successfully dodge torpedo attacks and, in turn, getting close to launch powerful torpedo salvos. The AA guns mounted on Phoenix may not be effective enough to destroy enemy squadrons alone. However, 2 or 3 Phoenix cruisers can knock the stuffing out of enemy aircraft. Omaha represents the result of further development of the Phoenix design. She is considered the first fully featured light cruiser built for the US Navy. Omaha is equipped with more powerful main guns, a reconnaissance plane, and a larger number of torpedoes. However, moving forward, American engineers decided to focus on artillery guns. Omaha is the last US cruiser to mount torpedo tubes. Cleveland is a light cruiser placed at Tier 6, at least for the moment. This is a high-speed and maneuverable warship. With her 12x6-inch guns, she can unleash a hail of fire on any adversary. She is a menace to destroyers and cruisers, and a pain in the neck for battleships and aircraft carriers. With her powerful AA guns, she can confidently fight against 1 or 2 enemy squadrons alone. Pensacola is the first US Navy heavy cruiser. She is well armored and equipped with powerful artillery AA guns. This is a confident warrior. In top configuration, Pensacola is equipped with 4 main turrets, 2 double and 2 triple, allowing her to take on any type of opponent. New Orleans and Baltimore are second-generation heavy cruisers. Compared to their predecessors, they feature enhanced armor of the main turrets and magazines. These ships are also characterized by improved maneuverability, increased speed and powerful AA guns. And finally, the heavy cruiser Des Moines. She is equipped with the most powerful AA guns of any cruiser. Des Moines can provide outstanding cover from enemy destroyers and aircraft, but she can also be an effective attacker as well. Des Moines can present a real threat even to the most heavily armored battleships. US Navy cruisers were primarily designed for maneuver battles using artillery armament. The key to success is to fight the adversary at long and medium ranges to avoid torpedoes, while using agility to make yourself a difficult target for battleships' main guns. With their powerful AA guns, high-tier cruisers can be effectively used to screen Allied ships. US Navy cruisers are multi-purpose warships, good both for attack and defense. A cruiser can pose a serious threat when acting alone, but 2 or 3 cruisers acting together can be a real battle-winning unit. That's it for now. In our next episode, we'll talk about the cruisers of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Greetings, fellow captains. In a previous episode, we told you about the cruisers of the American tech tree. In this episode, we'll talk about the Japanese cruisers. Although grouped into general types, cruisers, battleships, destroyers and aircraft carriers, ships are nevertheless unique in each country. The Japanese cruisers are a perfect example. They occupied quite a specific niche, night hunters, able to strike any adversary, even significantly larger ships. Unlike their American counterparts, almost all the Japanese cruisers are equipped with imposing torpedo batteries, and the damage caused by these batteries increases with each tier. The lower levels of the cruiser branch are given to light cruisers designed to lead destroyer flotillas into battles. They were properly armed and equipped for this role. And starting at Tier 5, players go on to heavy cruisers with up-armored magazines, tapered decks, and inclined armor belts. To tell the truth, the armor on their main battery turrets is poor, and their traverse and elevation rate is not impressive, as opposed to the well-mechanized turrets of the American cruisers. But these weaknesses are balanced by the good ballistics of the 8-inch guns and their quantity. And the torpedo belt, with the armour along the waterline of the Japanese heavy cruisers, is second to none in their type. Tier 2 greets the player with the sturdy cruiser Chikuma, built after the Russo-Japanese War and taking into account lessons learned from those battles. She is fast enough and well armoured, 8 6-inch guns in top configuration. But this ship can't be called ideal even for her time because of a lack of side armour and a somewhat ineffective placement of the turrets. Yet this distribution was typical for ships from the end of the 19th through the first 2 decades of the 20th century. The 2 cruisers that come next, Tatsuta and Kuma at tiers 3 and 4 respectively, are a bit closer to being ideal. They are high speed and manoeuvrable. Designed for leading destroyer flotillas, these cruisers are actually enlarged destroyers. The power plant takes up the whole interior of the central hull, from bottom to upper deck. As a result, they frequently suffer critical damage. Compared to their predecessor, the artillery changes to 5.5-inch rapid-fire guns in single gun units. Torpedo tubes appear. Coupled with high speed, these weapons make Tatsuta and Kuma ideal for aggressive attacks using combined torpedo and artillery fire. The first heavy cruiser, Furutaka, awaits the players at Tier 5. Together with Aoba, a Tier 6 ship, she makes up the first generation of the Washington Treaty cruisers. They were the first to have reinforced armour on the magazine and main gun turrets. With their high speed, these cruisers can effectively fight against light enemy ships, while their torpedo tubes and good guns allow them to fight against battleships as well. The Tier 7 cruiser Miyoko differs from her predecessors, primarily in her reinforced main battery artillery, 5 turrets, and improved armour, including a torpedo belt that is really impressive for a cruiser. In turn, her immediate descendants Mogami, Tier 8, and Ibuki, Tier 9, are upgraded versions of Miyoko. They have better developed armour and are initially equipped with pretty powerful AA guns. Yet Mogami is worth a separate mention. This cruiser was built with 5 3-gun turrets having caliber 6.1-inch. Such design was meant to cheat the limits set by the Treaty of London. Cruisers with caliber up to 6.1-inch were not considered heavy, but shortly before the war, all ships of this type were refitted with 8-inch guns. This upgrade brought them in line with heavy cruisers in terms of their gun power. Both variants are available in the game, and players are free to choose what they like most. Good one-shot damage with slow loading, or a constant flow of relatively light shells. The Tier 10 ship, Zao, is the principal of the Japanese ship design industry. It was not built in reality. There was only a heavy cruiser project dated 1951. If the project had been implemented, Zao would have been the most modern and powerful among the Japanese cruisers, and one of the top cruisers in the world. Her 8-inch guns are assembled in 3 gun turrets, as on American cruisers, but Zao has 4 such turrets, 1 turret more than her American counterparts possess. In addition, the cruiser carries 4 quintuple torpedo tubes. This torpedo battery makes Zao one of the most powerful not only among cruisers, perhaps inferior only to Kidakami, but among all ships in the game. Zao is also second to none when it comes to torpedo defense. Summing up, we can say that the Japanese cruisers are unique in many aspects and differ from cruisers of other nations. Their main features include good dynamics, plentiful artillery, and powerful torpedo batteries. Designed as fierce night fighters, they can defeat any enemy if used skillfully, regardless of the enemy's type or nation. In our next episode, we'll talk about the most threatening opponents of cruisers, the mighty battleships.